Ladies and gentlemen, there are two types of people in this world, those who run their day and those whose day runs them. One wakes up with fire, the other with noise. One builds, the other reacts. But what separates the two is not talent, not luck, not even ambition. It is something far more powerful, the ability to guard their true priorities. In a world that profits from your distraction and thrives on your confusion, the greatest wealth you can possess is clarity of purpose. The moment you protect that purpose ruthlessly, unapologetically, you begin to unlock power most people never touch in a lifetime. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, directionless, or like your energy is constantly being drained by things that don't matter, then stay with me, because this message might just be the wake-up call your destiny has been waiting for. The secret to a rich life is not buried in a vault or locked in some elite university classroom. It is here in your ability to identify, protect, and act upon your true priorities. Let me be blunt. Your future is being auctioned off one distraction at a time. Every yes you give without thought, every obligation you accept out of guilt, every hour you spend scrolling through the noise of the world, you are handing over pieces of your destiny to things that do not deserve it. You were not born to chase everything. You were born to choose. The strongest people I have ever known do not do more. They do less, but better. They understand something most people ignore. Focus is not a luxury. It is survival. Look around. There's a war on your attention. Every device, every alert, every comparison, every false urgency is pulling at your mind. Why? Because if you're distracted, you're docile. If you're scattered, you're safe to ignore. But once a man or woman becomes focused, clear, unwavering, protected by their own priorities, they become unstoppable. Let me ask you, what matters most? Is it your faith, your family, your calling, your health, your purpose? Then guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Most people fail not because they lack talent or resources, but because they spend their lives serving the priorities of others while ignoring their own. They become professionals at putting out fires they didn't start, experts in tasks they were never called to complete. Make no mistake, if you don't define your priorities, someone else will. And I promise you, they will not have your best interest at heart. Build your life like a fortress. Let only the essential inside. Say yes only when it aligns with your mission. Say no like your legacy depends on it, because it does. Say not now to everything that is urgent but not important. And most importantly, say thank you to the voice inside you that keeps whispering, this is not your path. Choose again. In closing, remember this truth. You are the gatekeeper of your future. You do not owe the world your exhaustion. You do not owe every voice your time. But you do owe your destiny your absolute focus. So guard your true priorities like your life depends on it, because in every way that counts, it does. In the noise of modern ambition, where busyness is worn like a badge of honor and the calendar is crammed with endless tasks, most people mistake movement for achievement. But let us be clear, the world does not reward you for how much you do. It rewards you for doing what truly matters. The man who tries to chase two rabbits catches none. The same goes for dreams, goals, and desires. Success does not respond to scattered energy. It responds to clarity. The tragedy of our time is not laziness, it is distraction. It is the illusion that productivity means progress. But activity without direction is just motion in circles. It is running hard, but arriving nowhere. It is living every day with urgency, but no purpose. A person can fill their days with meetings, calls, errands, and obligations and still feel hollow because they never touched the work that truly mattered. They never honored the priority that would have changed everything. We are conditioned to think that the one who does the most wins, but this is a lie. The one who identifies what is essential and protects it fiercely, that's the one who climbs, that's the one who achieves. That's the one who wakes up fulfilled, not just tired. That's the one who leaves a legacy, not just a checklist. Examine any life of great impact and you will see a person who understood one sacred truth. Success is not a matter of doing more. It is a matter of choosing well. You must become a master of elimination. The highest version of you is not achieved through addition, but through subtraction, cutting away the unnecessary so the vital can breathe. Most people are overwhelmed not because they have too little time, but because they are trying to do too many things that don't matter. They confuse being available with being valuable. They think being constantly busy means they are important, when in fact it may mean they are avoiding the very things that would demand true courage and focus. The path to true success, lasting, meaningful success, is narrow. It cannot be walked with 1,000 distractions tugging at your feet. It demands that you know what matters most and give it your best, not your leftovers, not your rushed attention, not your scattered energy, your best. That means showing up with presence, passion, and power. But here's the truth. Knowing what matters most isn't enough. You must also have the discipline to choose it daily. You must protect your focus like it's gold, because it is. You must be willing to disappoint others to stay true to your mission. You must be willing to be misunderstood, even criticized, because people who don't know your priorities will never understand your discipline. And that's okay, because this life, this one precious life, is not about pleasing the world. It's about honoring your calling, and that calling will only come to life when you learn to filter the noise, silence the distractions, and place your hands on the work that moves you forward. Success is not a race. It's not a ladder, and it's not a contest. It is the quiet, determined pursuit of what is essential. It is doing less with greater intention. It is waking up and saying, if I accomplish only one thing today, let it be the one that aligns with who I am becoming. In that choice lies your breakthrough. Imagine this. You wake up each morning with a limited deposit of time, 24 hours, no more, no less. That time is more than just minutes on a clock. It is the very currency of your life. And just like money in a vault, how you choose to spend or protect it will determine the quality of your future. But here's the brutal truth. Most people give their time away like loose change. They allow interruptions, trivial matters, and the demands of others to pickpocket their purpose. They hand over access to their precious vault, no questions asked. And before they even realize it, the day is gone. Another week disappears. Months pass, years blur, and they wonder why their goals remain distant, their dreams unfunded, their energy drained. The answer is simple. They failed to guard the vault. You must begin to see your time as sacred territory. Not everyone deserves access to it. Not every request deserves a yes. Not every opportunity is worthy of your energy. The same way a bank guards its vault, you must guard your day, not with fear, but with intention, not with aggression, but with clarity, because time is not something you can borrow, and once it's gone, it never returns. Your priorities, your real ones, the ones rooted in your calling, your values, your deepest purpose, those are the only things worthy of your time. They are the only things that should ever hold the key. Yet most people live the opposite way. They give the key to urgency, to distraction, to guilt, to pressure. They let the loudest voices dictate the most important hours. They confuse motion with meaning, and as a result, they lose the very life they were trying to build. But let me tell you, you were not put on this earth to be accessible to everyone and everything. You were born to be deliberate. You were born to use your time as a weapon of creation, not a sponge for reaction. Guarding your time does not mean you become cold or selfish. It means you become aligned. It means you become selective. It means you finally understand that every yes you give is a no to something else, something that might be closer to your true path. And here's the paradox. The more you protect your time, the more valuable you become. The more you restrict your access, the more power your presence carries. Because when you stop pouring your energy into things that drain you, you begin to pour it into things that build you. Think of the greatest achievements in history, the most fulfilled lives, the most impactful legacies. They were not created by people who were constantly available. They were created by people who knew how to disappear into their priority, who knew how to shut the world out long enough to hear the whisper of their own mission, who respected their time enough to give it only to what truly mattered. So I ask you, who has the key to your vault? Who or what have you allowed inside without permission? It's time to change the locks. It's time to reclaim control. It's time to audit your hours and defend your destiny. Let your calendar reflect your purpose. Let your schedule tell the truth about what you value. Let your time become proof of your vision. Because once you start guarding your vault, your life will change. Not slowly, immediately. Your energy will shift. Your focus will sharpen. Your days will stop slipping through your fingers and begin building something unstoppable. Give the key to your priorities and only your priorities. That's how you create a life that's not just busy, but bold, brilliant, and built on purpose. Every day you wake up, you're faced with a quiet but powerful decision. Will I lead my life today, or will I let someone else lead it for me? It may not seem like a conscious question, but your actions answer it for you. Most people don't lose control of their lives in a single moment. They lose it in small compromises and unspoken agreements, in saying yes when they should have said no, and letting someone else's urgency override their own intention. Before they know it, their calendar belongs to someone else. Their energy is spoken for. Their dreams have been postponed so many times they're barely recognizable anymore. Here's what they don't realize. If you don't decide your day, someone else will. And they'll decide it based on what benefits them, not you. They'll fill your time with their problems, their needs, their vision, and their agenda. That is not selfishness on their part. It is simply human nature. Everyone is pursuing something. And if you don't stand firm in your own direction, you will be swept into theirs. You must understand this. Priorities do not set themselves. They are claimed. They are chosen. They are enforced. And when you don't make that choice with clarity and courage, the world will choose for you. You'll become reactive instead of proactive. Busy instead of productive, exhausted instead of empowered. The greatest loss isn't time, it's ownership of your life. Too many people are living in quiet submission to someone else's design. They say yes to things that don't align. They chase goals that were never theirs to begin with. They work jobs they don't love, spend time in relationships that drain them, and neglect the very passions that once lit a fire in their soul, all because they never stopped to choose their own path. This world will always try to pull you away from what matters. That's why you must anchor yourself with intention. You must build your life from the inside out, not the outside in. You must stop waiting for the perfect moment to prioritize what's important and declare that moment now. Choosing your priorities is not just a matter of planning, it is a matter of power. It is the act of reclaiming your direction. It is how you draw a line between your purpose and the noise of the world. And it is the only way to live a life of meaning instead of maintenance. But don't think this will come without resistance. The moment you begin to live by your true priorities, the world will push back. People will question you. They will challenge your choices. They'll say you've changed, and you have. You've stopped being available for everything because you've become committed to something. You've stopped being owned by chaos because you've chosen clarity. And that's not just okay, it's necessary. The truth is, your life is far too valuable to be lived by default. Your time, your energy, your attention, they are not infinite resources. If you spend them on the wrong things, you can't get them back. That is why the decision to choose your own priorities is one of the most powerful choices you will ever make. It is the beginning of leadership. It is the foundation of freedom. It is the gate to a life worth living. So don't wait. Don't hope someone gives you permission. Don't ask if it's okay to choose yourself. Choose and protect that choice with everything you've got. Because if you don't, someone else will. And the life they build for you will never match the one you were meant to create. In the rush of daily life, the most dangerous enemy of your progress is not laziness. It is distraction disguised as urgency. We live in an age where everything screams for our attention. Notifications, emails, meetings, last-minute requests, constant alerts, they all arrive wearing the mask of important. They come dressed as emergencies, demanding your immediate response, threatening consequences if ignored. But peel back the surface and you'll see them for what they truly are, distractions dressed in costume. Urgency is seductive. It tricks you into reacting. It hijacks your focus and robs your day. And the tragedy is, most people spend the best years of their lives responding to what feels urgent, while what truly matters waits patiently in the background, ignored, postponed, forgotten. Your real priorities don't shout. They don't knock down your door. They don't chase you. They sit quietly in the background, crowned with purpose, waiting for you to honor them. They don't come with alarms, but they carry the power to shape your destiny. Think about it. How many times have you postponed something truly meaningful, your health, your purpose, your spiritual growth, your dreams, because something urgent came up? And how often did that urgency matter a day later, a week later, a year later? Urgency rarely leads to legacy, but purpose always does. This is why so many people feel tired and unfulfilled. It's not because they aren't working hard. It's because they are constantly pulled in directions that don't align with their calling. They are busy but not productive, active but not effective, always moving yet never arriving. And the worst part, they begin to believe that this is just how life works, that peace, clarity, and focus are luxuries only available to the lucky few, that purpose can wait until the kids are grown, the bills are paid, the inbox is empty. But that day never comes because urgency never sleeps. It never stops knocking. You must understand this. What is urgent is not always important, and what is important is not always urgent. If you don't make time for your priorities, no one else will. The world will gladly steal your attention if you don't guard it with intention. Every day you wake up, you are presented with two voices, the voice of noise and the voice of necessity. The noise demands your reaction. The necessity asks for your devotion. One leads to exhaustion, the other to fulfillment, and you must choose. To live by your priorities is an act of rebellion in a culture obsessed with immediacy. It requires strength to say, this can wait, but my purpose cannot. It requires courage to turn off the noise and sit with your deepest values. It requires discipline to turn down the urgent and turn up the meaningful. Your purpose wears a crown because it is noble. It is steady. It is worthy of respect, but it won't compete with distractions. It waits for you to rise to its level. That's what great leaders do. They don't chase fires, they build futures. They don't bow to urgency, they serve what matters. They don't let the world dictate their direction. They let their priorities guide their every step. So starting today, look at what's pulling your attention. Is it crowned in purpose or just wearing the mask of urgency? Is it moving you closer to the person you're called to become, or just keeping you busy enough to avoid that question? Strip away the disguise. See things for what they are. Then choose not what shouts the loudest, but what matters the most. Because when you give your energy to your priorities, not your distractions, you begin to live not just a busy life, but a powerful one. We live in a culture that glorifies being available, being reachable, being on call. We're taught to respond quickly, give generously, say yes often, and keep everyone happy. And somewhere in that endless race to please, we begin to believe a dangerous lie, that guarding our own priorities is selfish, that saying no means we don't care, that putting ourselves first, even occasionally, is somehow wrong. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Guarding your priorities is not selfish, it is sacred. It is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is not indifference, it is discipline. You were not put on this earth to be pulled in 1,000 directions. You were not created to say yes to everything and everyone. You were not meant to live fragmented, drained, and distracted. You were born with a purpose, a mission, a unique calling, and that calling cannot be fulfilled if your time, energy, and focus are constantly surrendered to things that do not serve it. The decision to protect your priorities is not a sign of self-centeredness. It is a declaration that your life matters, that your mission deserves focus, that your energy is valuable, and that you respect your time enough to stop wasting it on what doesn't align with your destiny. Discipline is often misunderstood. People associate it with rigidity, strictness, or cold-hearted decisions. But true discipline, the kind rooted in purpose, is spiritual. It comes from a higher awareness that your life is not random and your days are not disposable. Every hour you live is a divine gift. And every time you guard your priorities, you're honoring that gift. You cannot pour into others from an empty cup. You cannot give your best to your family, your work, your faith, or your community if you are constantly burned out from giving your best to everything else. People often confuse being selfless with being self-sacrificing to the point of depletion. But what good is a light if it's always dim? What good is service if it's fueled by exhaustion and resentment? By guarding your priorities, you protect your inner life, your creativity, your peace, your focus, your ability to serve from overflow, not from deficit. You begin to give out of strength, not out of guilt. You start to show up fully, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And here's what's beautiful. When you start honoring your own priorities, the people around you begin to change too. You stop enabling the chaos. You model boundaries. You teach others by example what it looks like to live with clarity and intention. And you inspire them to do the same. Yes, you will face resistance. Some people won't understand your choices. They'll be upset that you're no longer available on demand. They may accuse you of being distant, different, or difficult. But that's not your burden to carry, because what you're doing is not for their comfort. It's for your calling. This is the paradox of growth. The stronger your priorities become, the more uncomfortable you will make those who have benefited from your lack of them. But do not shrink. Do not apologize. Do not explain away your discipline. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to live fully, love deeply, and lead boldly. And none of that can happen if your days are dictated by noise, urgency, and guilt. So stand firm. Guard your priorities like sacred ground. Honor your commitments to yourself the same way you honor your word to others, because every time you do, you align yourself with your highest purpose, and that alignment is what unleashes your true power. In the end, your life is shaped not by chance, but by what you choose to guard. Your priorities are the compass of your destiny, and protecting them is an act of power, not pride. The world will pull, distract, and demand, but only you can decide what gets access to your time, energy, and soul. Let each day reflect your true values. Let each choice echo your purpose. This is not about doing more, it's about becoming more by doing what matters most. Guard your true priorities, and you will unlock the life you were born to lead.